Well, I suppose we can get started. We may have a fairly short call. Just to confirm, can anyone hear me?
Yeah,
Great. So I don't think there are any infrastructure issues, but I thought I would put it on, have it there to see if there is anything I've forgotten or missed. Oops, I got to get in edit mode just a second. Hmm.
Oh, I leave it next to your picture. There is the edit button that you need to click between
There it is.
share and your, yeah, that one.
Yeah, I couldn't see it. It was underneath some other stuff. Okay, SD core. I think we've got a couple issues here from Gabriel. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically a few updates. The first one is during the last meeting we discussed about the issue I was facing with Kafka. So that issue got fixed, and now we are using the latest Mongo and Kafka versions from their Helm charts. So that's have been updated, and that was kind of one target that we had from the for the 3GPP release upgrade a roadmap. So that's basically another task that just got scratched out. So that's completed. Now, the other part, or the second bullet point, that it's kind of unrelated to the other stuff. Should we archive all repositories that are not related to the 5G? So basically, every repository that has no activity on it, and we know that that's basically all the 4G related stuff.
Well, I don't see a problem with archiving it. There are people still using Core's 4G.
Hmm.
We don't necessarily get any updates from them,
Yep.
although archiving says is a strong signal that we don't want any updates. Uh,
But we haven't received any updates either.
no, I know we haven't, but I'm just saying there are people actively using it, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are forks that have been actively maintained by someone else. Um, that, what other others think?
I think looking at last one or maybe 1.5 year, I don't think we have fixed anything. There were one or two bug fixes came, but that also I doubt if we have merged them.
No.
So, anyways, I mean, people can continue to use it. We are not removing the Docker images, right?
Right.
They will
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
there if somebody wants
yeah,
to use it as is.
correct. This is from GitHub perspective, basically to indicate that there is no development on that side, basically because there's no development.
Yeah, all right. So, I mean, if no one objects, this I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Ye- Yeah, so next bullet point is we release a new version of Helm chart that includes the latest Mongo and Kafka um, components, and this is already integrated into one wrap. Um, and the last bullet point regarding the SD core, um, we are going through the different dependencies to make sure that dependencies are outdated, are properly upgraded, making sure that the outdated dependencies, we either replace them with other dependencies or we try to replace them with packages that are from the Go standard library, taking any action on that, but with the main goal of keeping all dependencies up to date, and especially using the components that we actually want to use, and not just many users on that. So along these lines, that's something that Suresh is currently working on, which is removing everything that has to do with P4 support on the UPF. So that's gonna also remove some dependencies that are really outdated that were not updated because of some kind of compatibility issues with the P4 and the newer dependencies. So that's something that's going on.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Then from the on-ramp side, I didn't get a
So,
chance to.
Gabriel, just remind me like what PFCP version we are using currently on the N4, Go PFCP one.
Go PFCP, yes.
Which 3GPP release we are using?
That would be release 15.
Oh, that's also 15. Okay, okay.
15, yeah, I believe it's also 15. 15 of the, yeah, well, I need to double check actually. Let me, but as far as I remember, I think it was released 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so regarding the on-ramp side, I saw a few emails going back and forth with Sean and Jordan, but I don't know what was the conclusion of this. I don't know whether you already had a chance to kind of validate this. But last week when I was testing it, it was still having issues. Um,
So the issue is the old registry name went away. Jordan uh, recreated the registry um, on GitHub, and anyone that referenced the registry by name needed to be updated. And there seemed to still be some hidden dependencies or references to the registry um, buried in the code somewhere.
Is that still the case, Larry?
Well, so
In the
I
email
I may
chain,
be out of date, but that's the last I saw.
right? Jordan and myself had a conversation about the mail that Gabrielle sent had the wrong URL on it, and in fact it should be like atomics.github.io is what it should start with. And I didn't see any reply to that email. So I didn't know. Let me just check that
So
I
it
sent
should
it
be
properly.
atomics.github.io/charts, right?
Yes, I think that's right. I'm just checking here.
so
Oh no, sorry. It's slash charts dot atomics.io. So atomics.github.io slash charts.atomics.io.
but yeah, so that is the URL that we are currently using. So that's what we have in the in on-ramp.
Oh, I see.
So, and that's kind of the problem that I was having with. Just give me 1 second. I'm pasting on the chat basically the URL that we have, and also I can paste in the chat the PR that I opened based on Jordan's initial suggestion. But using this new URL, I was unable to actually deploy the rock. So I was testing it with Jenkins, with the Jenkins amp task, and it didn't work. So let's see.
Okay. Do you have a link to the Jenkins job? And I can try taking a look.
Yeah, let me take a quick look into that. So I think that is something that Larry Jenkins, yeah, this one.
Yeah, so that's right.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I'd really rather not be a link. I'll have to fix that.
Yeah, you know, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that is right.
Yeah, Shona just shared in the chat the link for the Jenkins action. So Yeah, so in
Yeah,
the
I
Jenkins
remember.
action, basically that's what I mentioned to Jordan, that the issue them is, yeah, he is complaining about the atomics as well.
Yeah, so the AMP quick start
Yeah,
test is, yeah.
yeah. If you want, you can go install Ether and then the logs, and then you can see that he is complaining about. No, I probably a little bit up, a little bit more up, 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 up.
Well, I'm just looking at the
Yeah,
that particular.
yeah. So yeah, just there. So
Yeah.
you see where it says complaints about the atomics.
Mm. Okay, I hadn't seen this.
I think
Uh,
I shared this link in the email, but yeah, please take a
Mm.
look at that. No, I didn't share the link. I just shared the error message. But yeah, so this is what I was gonna see.
So did I record? All right, I wanted to record this as an example here. Okay. So I think it was probably Jordan that said he believed there were buried references to the old URL that needed to be updated, but
But based on this, it doesn't even find the chart, the specific version 112, and so.
yeah.
oh, I see.
But anyway, Shani, if you can please take a look into that and then
Yeah,
let us
yeah, I'll
know
take a look. Yeah.
your input.
So on a semi-related topic, I'll just mention, I think I have found a research group at the University of Tokyo that's interested in doing research with the Rock API, and it sounds like they're willing to understand how all the machinery works. So we might have some developers that can help us with fixes like this, maintenance issues. I mean, they're also
Oh,
going to do research and they may propose changes to the API, which would be great. But it
cool.
would be good to have additional people that knew their way around the mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so continuing on here.
Yeah, so as part of the project that we are kind of finalizing, we kind of added support for the entry AWF. And then for that, we created an entry AWF blueprint. But during our testing, we noticed that the SCTPLV doesn't recognize the only identifier from the run that it knows is a run ID. So it doesn't know anything about entry AWF ID, or it doesn't know anything about a NG. I think it's called next generation E-Node V, something like that it's called. So there are three different identifiers that are coming from the run into the AMF. So the SCTP-LV only supports the run ID. So therefore, to be able to make it work, we basically had to disable the SCTP-LV. And to avoid kind of confusions for end users saying, if you want to use the entry-AWF blueprint, you got to disable this other component and things like that. So basically, we just disabled by default the SCTP-LV with the goal that at some point in the near future, somebody can add the support for the different identifiers so we can re-enable the SCTP back by default again. But yeah, so now and the entry-AWF, sorry, the on-ramp also supports entry-AWF capability, and also we made public the source code for the entry-AWF. That was a repository that was kind of kept as private in the OMIC project. We are building a Docker images for that, container images for that, and also as part of that, also we have a blueprint for non-3GPP access.
Thank you. Yeah, no other updates on ramp. I accepted a couple PRs someone has submitted, some fixes to the docs, which were appreciated. Those have both been merged. I believe, Timon, you've added a topic here. If there's nothing else on on-ramp, we'll move on to it.
Yeah, that was me. I thought I'd just share for this group a couple of things that are happening more broadly in the open source space around mobile and I guess more is happening in the RAN space than in the core. But just in the last, I don't know if it was even today, but in the last couple of days, there's this project that the US government was trying to award funds for called Okudu, which is for an open source CUDU, trying to create something that would ultimately go into the Linux Foundation that would be very liberally licensed. And that was awarded to SRS RAN, and DeepSig is a prime. And it's like a $30 million award, and the claim is that it will become open source as an LF project in 2026. And I think as many of you know, the open source CUDU has been sort of the last bastion of the need for open source to be able to create a complete end-to-end stack. A related thing is that LF also announced this other project about a month ago called Duranta, which is an open source CUDU as well, theoretically, open at least. And that is with OAI, which is the other main provider of open source RAN software. But they have a slightly weird licensing model, and I think the licensing model on this Duranta project is going to remain slightly weird. And I haven't seen the details of the model of the license, but effectively it's like for research purposes. But I think that it's not like an Apache licensed code that anybody could use for commercial purposes. And so I think, that's been historically the problem with the OEI code, or one of the restrictions with the OEI code. But those are both, pretty positive developments for the open mobile space. And then just thirdly is it happens that tomorrow and the next day there is a workshop on open source in the mobile space taking place, and it can be attended virtually as well as physically. And if anybody's interested, take a look. It's a place where one could become updated on what's going on across the spectrum of activity. And we are also trying to ensure that some of the Aether and ONF related projects are represented there as well. And I don't believe this is kind of on the RAN side more than core, but to the extent to which core can be presented, or I would say that LF is quite bullish behind SD core and views it really as sort of the primary core offering for creating an end-to-end mobile stack. And LF also views the US government support for SD cores in a very positive light. There is kind of this effort on the LF front to create an end-to-end, quote unquote, blueprint with all the pieces for creating an end-to-end solution. The CUDU being an important part, and the two options above now becoming options for that blueprint. But I think SD core has a sort of a relatively firm position in that blueprint from LF's perspective. Any questions, please speak up.
It's great to hear that in our project that we just ended and now we are starting a renewal. The SRS1 is basically the basis for the RAN side. So we didn't know that Okudu was awarded to them. Performance stability has been a really good experience to work with those on our end-to-end performance. And my question basically I was kind of about to ask you is related to the view of LF regarding the core, but basically you already kind of mentioned about that. And I was kind of like trying to ask about that because at least the SRS RAN when they cannot provide their solutions, right? So it's the SRS run cannot live by itself. So for them to kind of do end-to-end testing, they have integrated typically Open5GS. But yeah, so if somehow we can kind of do that at a two-way street, basically SRS run using Ether as their core, as we are currently doing with them, that would be kind of something great. So if somehow we can approach that to that point, it would be good. So
Yeah, that would be great, and I think LF could be a helpful partner in that, since LF is now involved in this new Okudu award, and they
Yeah.
love it, and they're embedded, they're using Ether.
yeah, and again, as part of the project that we just finished, we added a lot of kind of like blueprints with emphasis to a SRS run, and we have deployed the SRS run in a simulation mode using different kinds of USRPs and even in different RUs. So the on-ramp blueprints do support all these different variations from SRS run.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I don't know what else to add, but it's nice to see some of this this progress in terms of getting SRS RAN to use SD core on a more regular basis. Probably the best way to achieve that is just by continuing to kind of engage. And Larry's right that I think that LF might help kind of push the two together a little bit, which would be nice.
So who would be the right LF contact? Is it ARPIT or is it someone else?
Well, I mean, yes, it's ARPIT at the highest level, and then Sridhar Rao is
Yep.
probably the
So
person.
that he might be the right person to lobby to help push this along.
Yeah, I think he probably is the right person.
Good.
Now, again, you've got to remember that LF tends to not push things. I mean, it's a weird balance, right? They try to remain
Right.
so.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah, and just so people understand the background on Okudu as well, is that LF was awarded some kind of work with the government to help put together the grant solicitation for Okudu. And as far as I understand it, that part of the agreement is that this grant would go out, it would get awarded, and then LF would ultimately host the project that comes out of this, the work in this grant. And it's kind of all tied together. But LF was involved starting years ago, trying to get this going and kind of defining what the grant requirements would be. So it's a bit LF's involved in kind of an unusual way, as far as I understand it, with Okudu. All right, that's all I've got.
Okay.
Then I had question like, do you hear anything on the 6G within the LF?
Well, people are talking about it, but in a relatively abstract way. I don't see a lot that's really concrete. I think that I don't know that LF is at the forefront. It would be more projects, or I guess people are looking right now, frankly, to some of the U.S. government DoD interest in funding NextG related activities. There's I think a general sentiment or feeling that the 5G investment cycle has kind of peaked and is in a valley, and 6G, NextG would be the next thing, and that historically we've seen those kind of the peaks and valleys in mobile investment and the generations of mobile technologies. But I can't point to really specific activities as of yet, and frankly, I'm looking for them, and we're looking for them, and we're interested in identifying them and finding places or ways we could begin to support research or invest. But that's
because this is early start would be good, right? Relatively, we were late in the 5G as such.
Yeah, that is really true. And of course, if you know of anything, I mean, we're even kind of looking for researchers that are have interesting propositions, and we'd like to be able to find ways to support that work or attach to that work or help them go after government funding. And when I say we, an element of this is ONF, the traditional ONF entity is trying to, has been thinking about ways to identify that kind of work and help support that kind of work. So if you know of things or even of individual researchers or people or projects, please bring them to my attention. I would really appreciate that. It's something
Okay.
starting to look out for actively.
Okay, sure.
Okay. We've run through everything here. I'm curious, Gianni, this last weekend was the Era Fest. Did anything to report on that?
Actually, nothing to report. Even myself didn't attend it. I'm busy with some preparation for the Aerofest. Yeah, but
Okay.
if there is any update, I will let you guys know.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. All right. If nothing else, we'll adjourn for today. Going once. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.